Hey guys, this is a quick tutorial on how to use Haskell Hugs Proof Checker with CS2603. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to your D2L page. You're going to go to the Applied Logic Hardware and Software class. From there, you're going to want to click on Course Web Pages. Here is where you're going to install Hugs. Now, depending on whether you got Hugs for Mac or Hugs for Windows, you'll click on either or. For me, I installed Hugs for Windows full. You'll click that, it'll download, you'll open it, you'll install it. Nothing too hard there. After you have successfully installed it, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on Standard Library for Applied Logic. This is where you're going to get that stdm file we keep needing to import. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to right click, and you're going to want to click Save As. You're going to want to change that to all files, and then you're going to select a folder to put it in. So I'm going to go to Google Drive, and I'm going to put it in the Applied Logic folder, and I'm going to put it in this demo folder. Now, this might be different for you guys. I know I've been having issues with it. For whatever odd reason, when I save it as stdm.lhs, it still saves it as a text file. It thinks the .lhs is part of the name. So I have to change the save as type to all files, and I have to retype this in as stdm.lhs. Make sure that you save it as .lhs. Don't save it as .hs, because when you try running your proofs, you may run into an issue where it says there's an error with the module, missing bracket, some garbage like that. Just make sure that you delete out the file name and retype in stdm.lhs, just as you see on the screen. After you're done, you're going to want to click Save. So now with the program installed and getting the stdm file, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to one of your text editors. So for me, I'm going to find Notepad. So I'm going to open up Notepad. So this is where you're going to type in all your lines for your proofs. I realized that you had to use it in a text editor. I myself thought that you had to put it right into the Hugs program itself. So it helped when I was finally told I needed to use a text editor. And maybe that was in the slides and I just missed it. So this is where I'll put my import stdm line. And from here, I'll write out all my other lines of code for the proof checking. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to open up one of my previous proofs and copy and paste the text in to give you an idea. And I'm going to go to this one. And I am going to copy all this text. Close that out. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click Paste. So as you can see here, I've got my predicate and I've got my conclusion. So I just have one predicate for this proof, but if you had multiple predicates, you could make this predicate 1 equals this, predicate 2. The easiest way to tell how many predicates you have is how many commas you have in your turnstile. So if you have 1 comma on the left of your turnstile, A, comma, B, turnstile A and B, or A or B, whatever the case may be, you know that your first predicate would be the first part, then the comma comes, and then your second predicate is that second part. So your predicates are what comes before your turnstile. Your conclusion is everything that comes after the turnstile. So for me, I'm trying to prove A and B or C leads us to A or C and B or C. And I'm going to write my theorem, THM equals theorem. I'm going to put my predicate in the brackets, then I'm going to put the conclusion. So here I start from the top of my proof and work my way down with my first assumption. And what you'll do is you'll write the property that you're using, what's on the top of the property, and what the property leads to. So for and elimination left, I'm assuming A and B, and at the bottom of that, I get A. And then I keep working my way down with each and every proof. Now you will notice as I get to the very final part of my proof, I don't put it as proof 9, I put it as proof. Now you can do it however way you want. I'm just pointing this detail out. But it's important that you remember what your final proof line is named. So as you can see, my final line is an OR elimination. I assume the predicate. I have proof 7, I have proof 8, and I end with my conclusion. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit File, I'm going to click Save As, and I'm going to make sure that this is in all files. And as you can see, I'm already in the demo folder. So I'm going to name this demo file. And I'm going to make sure to put .hs. You don't have to use LHS anymore. It was just for that first file. The rest of them now, you're going to name .hs. You're going to save as type is all files. You're encoding, you're going to leave that all the same. So now I'm going to hit save. I'm going to close this out. So now that I've got my first proof done, what I'm going to go to is I'm going to do the Hugs program. So I'm going to open that up. Now I know you can type the colon load and then the file path. Me personally, I think it's kind of a pain. What you can do is you can click the Load Modules from Specified File button up here in the top left. From there you can actually go and find the file. So I'm going to go look for that file right now that I just created. There's my demo folder, and there's my demo file. Now pay attention. Now where I saved this file at, I've also got my STDM file. Now if you do decide to bundle your homework files together, as you see that I'm doing, just make sure that you have at least one copy of your STDM file for it to work correctly. It needs to be wherever you're keeping the file that you're wanting to load. It needs to be in the same folder. Multiple copies of it, doesn't matter. So I'm going to click Demo File, and I'm going to click Open. So as you can see, it loaded it properly. So the next thing that I'm going to type is, I'm going to type check underscore proof is all one word, and then my theorem I named THM, and the final line of my proof, which is what you need to check, and it will run through all the lines, but this is what you need to type in. I named mine PRF. I'm going to click the Enter button, and there, we can see that the proof is valid. Now, if you did need to do an equational proof, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to open up one of my files that was done in Boolean algebra, and I'm going to click Edit so I can see the text. So as you can see, there's my equation, P, N, Q, or Q. The theorem EQ stands for equals when it comes to the equation Q. I've got my proof equals start proof, and then from here I'll put in each line. So there's my starting line equals, and then P and Q or Q and true. There's where I do the AND ID. You want to make sure that this part is bundled together. You put a comma, and then you drop down a line and you put in the property that you're using, and you want to make sure that you've got the parentheses surrounding this entire chunk, as you can see right here and right here. You'll want to put this equal symbols next, and you'll want to move down the line and the same thing over and over again. So now that we've taken a quick look at that, I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to open that up. So I'm going to go back one, and I'm going to load this one. Now the difference here is instead of typing check proof, you're going to type check underscore equation, and then for me it's EQN and PRF. And as you can see here, it went through and it checked it, and it did show that this proof is indeed correct. So I know there isn't a whole lot of details to this, and I know the notation is a little confusing, but hopefully this helps anybody that's still stuck what to type in, where to type it, and how to get a basic start using Hugs. One last final thing to note. If you're needing to look at the proper notation using natural deduction, I went through the STDM file and I pulled out all the correct naming, capitalizations and everything. So what's on the left here is the proper way to type it in. And for notation in Boolean algebra, again, it's what's on the left. Proper capitalizations and spellings and everything. Hopefully that helps you guys with this class.